Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please continue to pray for me by leaving a dislike on this video. I'm feeling kind of down today because I come to realize that a lot of times people only want to, here in the United States, people only want to do what keeps them out of trouble as opposed to what is the right thing to do. I had a minor difficulty last night at a meetup that I was at over some dietary restriction issues, and I fortunately one of my friends there really stood up for me. But I really got the sense that the only reason I won the argument was that the trivia event was being held at a bar. The bar owner was very upset that I had brought, let's call them nutritional supplements, because I need them. It's not just food that I'd like to indulge in, to his bar, and argued with me over it. And I got the sense that the only reason that my friend and I won that argument was that he didn't want to have a public relation problem with the rest of the bar. I really got the sense of not that he wanted to do the right thing. And unfortunately, that kind of flavor happens at the workplace too, right? I often get, I actually had a colleague who needed to take some time off of work to have surgery. He wanted me to look, English was his second language. He wanted me to look over things while he was filling out the paperwork. And I did. And when I looked at it, I got the sense this was at Phoenix College. I really got the sense that Phoenix College was trying to get away with doing the bare minimum without getting in trouble with ADA violations or FMLA kind of violations. I really got the sense that they were just trying to stay legal. They weren't trying to do the right thing. And the same dynamic happens everywhere else. And it's just a very disgusting feeling once you see through that. And it prompted me after I saw my colleague fill out that FMLA or whatever request it was at the college. That's when I ramped up my art project and said, I need to free myself from all of this. And I wish I had more influence. The only reason the situation at the bar last night didn't get even more loud than it had to be was because my friend had been to had been a regular at that bar for who knows how long. And unfortunately, influence is a tough one for me because I have very little influence in order to gain influence. I feel ever since I moved here to the to Phoenix, that's why I really need to make a name out of my art, right? If people start to know me as the Peter Dislike artist, right, then that might change a little bit, right? That's when I really ramped up my art project. Is when I started to realize all of this. I hope I get a chance to work with. I know this sounds a little strange given my philosophy that I've been talking about, but I want to pour something out of gold at some point. I've been watching videos of it. One of my favorite things to pour. Well, I'll need a graphite mold in order to do gold, of course. So, but I hope to get that Buddha that I've been pouring enlarged a little bit. Obviously, the one mold that I have pours about half a pound of bismuth, which is about a pound of gold if you were to pour it in gold. I want to do a little bit bigger, but obviously I don't have a lot of gold on me, right? And but I hope to one day get to do that, right? Hopefully, the gold to silver ratio will close a little bit. I'll take my 1,000 ounce silver bar traded for. I hope to get 100 ounces of gold back for that at some point, and then I'll pour a Buddha out of it. I can't wait. So pray for that ratio to close, or either gold to silver could go 10 to 1, or maybe gold to bismuth, right? Could go. During World War II, gold was $35 an ounce. Bismuth was like $2.50 a pound. So I'll let you do the math. At that ratio, I could probably do something, right? Um, I know it sounds strange because I downplay gold so much, but it looks very fun to play with. I got to admit that. uh, and make a name out of myself because I feel like I feel like every time I try to speak for myself, I feel like I'm trying to swim up the river upstream, right? I really do, and so I may have some good points, but I feel like just my voice is being drowned out, right? I talked about a couple days ago about a situation I ran into of trying to go to a theme park, right? And I have very good points every time, but my voice and my concepts get completely drowned out every time. Tomorrow, it's going to be the first day of class for another group of students, and I'm teaching at Central Arizona College. I hope to make a splash in terms of making a name out of myself there. That's what's really been holding me back. Not having the right influence, not being able to pull the right strings, has really set me back in my 2 years here in Phoenix. But I want to make a name out of the art projects, and I think a 100-ounce gold pour of the Buddha would really cement people's attention. I really do. That's why I've been thinking about that. I mean, in theory, I could just trade everything I have for that gold, but that would be the only thing that I have. So that wouldn't do too well with my art career either, right? All right. So, or if any of my viewers, I don't know if I have wealthy viewers, would like to just lend me that 100 ounces of gold, and I'll pour something for you. You could have the pour for free. I just need the gold, right? And then I could make a like exposure for myself. I'm willing to do that actually. I don't know how many wealthy viewers I have though. Okay, pray for some good health for me as well. My mouth is once again sore, and that really sucks. I'm really depressed about that mouth sore more than anything else because tomorrow, first day of class, and that's how I begin. It's just, it just that's just my luck. That's just my luck every time. I don't know if I should begin the class by telling the students that I have a mouth sore or just because my own experience with mouth sores is that they really pigeonhole my speech. I get tensed up, anxious, and I make shortcuts. For example, my mouth is sore, right? Instead of making this beautiful speech about, I don't think the students need to know about. Well, the reason I want to say it is that I tend to make speaking mistakes when my mouth is sore and I'm anxious to get the words out, right? Making shortcuts. I run into this a lot. For example, I'm negotiating some. Imagine tomorrow I had to go to HR for some reason, right? Negotiate some vacation time or negotiate any other matter, right? Uh, and I go up to HR. My mouth is sore. I tend to make shortcuts. Oh, I just need this day off, or rather than, oh, I'm teaching math, and it would be really good to go see the lunar eclipse, because that's a great example to show trigonometry. You tend to make shortcuts, and that might not be the worst example. I'll let you think about examples where shortcuts could really change the tune of what you're trying to say. That's why I make it a rule of thumb. Submit things in writing so you can. Yeah, I really despise that. I used to be very trusting. I'd go talk to HR about a vacation day, and I would leave it at a handshake, and then I would get burned. HR would conveniently forget that I had asked for this day off, that she had agreed to it, and I talked about yesterday a situation I ran into one time with HR. I have multiple chemical sensitivity, and I have to be careful about heavy metals that I come into contact with. One day I was sitting in the break room minding my own business, and a custodian had come to change some fluorescent light bulbs and accidentally shattered a light bulb. Needless to say, I decided to hold my breath. I grabbed my laptop and I left the building, and I left a disaster in my wake. I was eating or something else at the table, but I didn't want to. In theory, people ask, well, why didn't you tell people what you were doing? I didn't even want to open my mouth to talk to the custodian because I'm very sensitive to mercury. I'd rather play it safe. I left the building, and after I left, I called to let the school know that I'm taking it sick the rest of the day without explaining the mercury. Just maybe I could have explained it at that point, but I was upset already because I don't like to miss work, especially over something that's not even my fault. And so the next day when I came back, HR was really upset that I had left a disaster in the break room. And the HR girl who talked to me about this, she was actually younger than me. I want to say she was in her mid-20s. And when I explained about the mercury and multiple chemical sensitivities, she laughed at me. I should have followed that up with an email. When she laughed at me, I think I even raised my voice, getting a little defensive. I was upset. And I don't take people who dismiss disabilities very lightly. I really hate that. And I got emotionally charged. I shouldn't have done that. Maybe I should have sent an email instead of walked into her office for that. And I don't know if I had a mouth sore at that point in time, but if I did, it could have been a lot worse, right? So pray for good health, pray for good relations, pray for a trusting workplace where things can go on a handshake, even though I've learned I have to trust and verify. Pray for 100 ounces of gold. Anybody who has 100 ounces of gold and wants me to make something out of it, I'm willing to do it for free just for the exposure. Now that I know how to do it, I've done it with poor man's gold a couple of times with silver. I've obviously had a lot of practice with gold's nuclear, let's see, great-great-great-grandmother, right? Obviously has a much lower melting point, right? So I feel I'm ready to try it with gold as well. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.